G'day guys, welcome back to another Scooby-Doo Forever review on the channel. Today I'll be doing something a little bit different and a little bit unplanned. I'll be reviewing the Harum, Scarum, Sanitarium, which is the 7th episode of the Scooby-Doo show. Now obviously this was meant to be the Scooby of 1,000 Faces, the 6th episode of the first season of Scooby-Doo and Guess Who. But the footage has now been corrupted for it, and it's a little bit of a last minute episode that I'll be getting out to you guys. Just filming this little clip at the start of the episode, just so you guys know. And I had it planned for this one to come out a couple, or maybe even a few weeks. But I was just saving it for a bit of a surprise, and obviously this should be a pretty good time to use it, so yeah, I'm just using it as a plan B, and yeah, the Scooby of 1,000 Faces will come out next week instead, along with the 7th episode. So yeah, that's just the reason why I'm reviewing this one. But yeah, let's jump straight into the review.
This is the road to the U.S. border, Fred?
No, I'm not. I think we're lost. Lost? On a creepy night like this? In the middle of nowhere?
So yeah, this episode obviously was titled The Harum, Scarum, Sanitarium, and it's one of my favourites from the Scooby-Doo show and in the entire Scooby-Doo franchise. It's an obvious 10 out of 10 for me. Dr. Coffin, the Mad Doctor, he was really good, and he was actually really spooky. Probably one of the most spookiest villains from the show as well, which definitely helped the episode get to a 10 out of 10. And the setting and the atmosphere about it was just all 10 out of 10s. It was just fantastic. There were some really great scenes that had the Mad Doctor with him as well. You know, you get when he appears at Fred shaking Scooby's window during their sleeping, which is really creepy. You also got him playing the piano, which hypnotizes Scooby to dance with the evil guard dogs. And they had some great scenes as well, the evil guard dogs. And yeah, he just had some really, really nice moments. Definitely one of the most utilized villains that was done well, in my opinion, from the show. And yeah, he also had a nice little scene where he appears on top of the rock at the start and I think in the middle of the episode. Yeah, which was really, really nice, I thought, and definitely added to the spookiness. I think the other reason why I really enjoyed this one is because it's just a refresher after reviewing Scooby-Doo and Guess Who for a bit. I just found the gang I guess they just acted better, and it's just what you want in a Scooby-Doo episode. But yeah, I guess the one thing that they didn't really have, which actually I thought added to the spookiness, was characters. They obviously had the little officer that they met at the start, Officer Oldfield, and they also had Dr. Tewksbury, who was at the sanitarium that they went to, and he was the owner, of course. So yeah, just the two characters, which normally I'd, criticize that, but this time it actually added to the spookiness, so it's actually a big tick in my opinion. We also got the two little police, the ambulance guys that come in and out a couple times throughout the episode, carrying bodies, and that was one of my favourite part of the episode, when Fred and Daphne and Velma went into this room and they found all these looks like dead bodies basically. But once you uncovered the sheet, it was just bricks of gold and wig to make it look like it was a person. That was just a really spooky scene for me, and probably scared me quite a bit when I was a child as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed the sanitarium, really added to the spookiness. The gang obviously went to follow the ambulance to see where they were going. at one point, which led them to the witch doctor and a broken bridge. And yeah, I guess I really enjoyed that. I also enjoyed when they followed the ambulance later on in the episode, but this time they were like right behind it, and they were able to see where it went, and it went into like the side of a cliff, and that's where the bad guys had their little scheme going. So yeah, the reveal, basically it turned out to be Officer Oldfield, and the two ambulance guys were his henchmen, basically, disguised as ambulance workers, but in fact they were just trying to smuggle all their gold bricks over the border to the Canadian side. Now, I did get a little bit confused about whether the sanitarium was on the Canadian side or the American side. I think it may have been on the Canadian side, but I'm not 100% sure about that. You guys can correct me down in the comments, because I would like to know. And yeah, basically they had their little scheme inside the cliff where they would disguise the gold in like a bread machine to make it look like it was just bread, and they also had the dead bodies. That's how they could get it over the border, because it just looked like patients with the wig. And yeah, they just used the sanitarium as like a bit of a location, and just to scare people away from there. Dr. Tewksbury just had nothing really to do with it, surprisingly. Like, everyone thought it was him, everyone thought he'd be involved in it, but he just had nothing to do with it. It was just a guy in there, pretty much. But he was the owner, technically, of the sanitarium. And yeah, they tried to smuggle the gold over the border, and they had that little scene in the solar furnace room, and that's how they smelted the gold down.
Doctor really is.
Well, there's only one person it could be. Dr. Tewksbury.
Officer Oldfield? The man posing as Officer Oldfield is actually the ringleader of a multi-million-dollar gold robbery that occurred in Montreal a month ago. And like he played ghost and used those dogs to scare people away from the sanitarium.
To get the gold as far as the border, the smugglers cast it into human-shaped figures wearing those wigs we found.
Then they shipped the figures by ambulance so the authorities would think they were just patients and let the ambulance go through. Very clever.
Then they brought the gold figures to the sanitarium and melted them down into gold bars for that solar furnace you found.
And finally, they bring the gold bars to the cave, disguise them in bread wrappers, and take them across the border into the USA. But what about Dr. Gooseberry?
Tewksbury.
He had nothing to do with it.
Quiet down there! A man's trying to get some sleep.
Like, how do you like that? He slept through the whole thing.
So yeah, and then to conclude the episode off, we see Scooby dancing, having fun, and the gang getting ready to go off to their next mystery. And yeah, like I said, it was a 10 out of 10 episode, just a perfect episode in general. Absolutely loved it. I hope you guys did as well. Stay tuned for next week, where I'll be getting back on my Scooby-Doo and Guess Who reviews after, a little bit of a mishap this week. But yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get that episode out and the following of Scooby-Doo and Guess Who out next week. I hope you guys enjoyed.
And that mad doctor. Scooby acts like he's under a spell.
He is. It's that weird music. Scooby, like, wake up! Wake up, Scoob, and run for it!